Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Warships Legends. My name is Spartan Elite 43 and tonight we are doing our very first video in the Tier 3 French battleship, the Courbet. Now as promised, you guys seem to enjoy me putting the builds and the stats and stuff at the beginning of the videos, so I'm going to do that for all the new ships from here on out. So let's get started. The Courbet. I've got the aiming systems mod 1, which gives me a dispersion buff and secondary buff with this dispersion buff as well. So three good things for a battleship. Pretty self-explanatory. Now I'm going to give you the stats now, and then we'll go check out my commander build right after. But I want to get through this as quickly as I can. So hit points 41,000, and remember this is fully upgraded as well. You saw that. So 305mm guns, there are 12 of them, but it's got an interesting little kick, and I forgot to show you guys that, but I'll show you in a second. But we've got the firing range up to 15.2 kilometers. Reload is just under 30 seconds, which is actually pretty good. That's generally where most battleships end up, no matter what tier you're at. The guns just get bigger. I forget what the Iowa's is at, but I think I've got it close to the 30 seconds as well, maybe 32. But moving on. AA defense doesn't really matter in this game. Maneuverability, 19.5 knots. It's a slow battleship, but most of the low tier battleships are. 580 meter turning radius. It feels like it's not too bad at turning when you're using it. You still want to slow down and turn when you can to avoid like torpedoes and stuff like that, but generally speaking, this thing doesn't feel that sluggish. Concealment. Do you really worry about this in a battleship? Probably not. But 12.8 kilometers by sea, 10.2 kilometers by air, guaranteed of 2 always, and then detectability while firing and smoke 9.7 because it's a battleship. But yeah, so that's that. Let's jump over to the commander, and we will show you from here. We have Robert Jajard. I apologize. You guys know this. Oh, wrong one. His base trait is increase AP penetration of the shells. Doesn't matter too much at the early tiers, but once you get up into the later tiers, I don't believe the guns get much bigger. So you need to have them. I think they get only 340 millimeters the rest of the way, I believe. But these are 305s, so this does help even on these. But at the low tiers, it doesn't really matter. You're still going to overpin. Because pretty much everybody except for the British has 305s, I believe, at this point. I could be wrong. I apologize. I'm going to stop talking out my rear. Anyway, down to the brass tacks. Flammable cannoneer, as always. We've not quite got this guy maxed out, obviously, but we do have plus 6% on the range, plus 3% on the precision, and plus 10% to risk of catching fire, unfortunately. Moving on, we got gyrating drill bits, which gives us 6% to the battleship's AP shell damage, gives us a little bit faster turret rotation, and the maximum battleship speed is reduced. So this probably would go a little faster if I didn't have this particular perk, but I do, so there's the thing. So you could probably get yours without this perk up over 20 knots pretty easily. But because I have this, we're capped. Going back to marksmanship, we have dispersion of the main battery again, minus 5%. So another buff to the dispersion. You know, I love my dispersion build battleships. And then from there, we've got the extra range. You could, pick this if you wanted to, but I haven't had too much trouble in this ship having to worry about, tanking a whole lot of damage. So definitely, increasing the range is nice on this ship because it doesn't get that much stock. And I don't have them legendary. So I don't have either of these. My inspiration, as always, Andrew Cunningham is on there, maxed out. I have him at Master or Legendary 1 and 16. So he gives me plus 4.25 on the dispersion of the precision of the main battleship's guns. So definitely a buff there. And then, of course, Charles Madden I like to put on there just for the extra buff to the reload speed and also the traverse speed just a little bit. So that's my build. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm going to go ahead and get you guys ready, and before we jump over to the video, I want to show you guys something. So the gun layout is interesting. We have 2 forward, 2 aft, and 2 in the center. The 2 in the center can't fire the opposite direction. They can only fire out the side of the ship that they're on. But they're mounted in such a way that you can fire them without angling too badly. But honestly, in this ship, I've been going broadside most of the time because at low tiers, most people just aren't that good. So you don't really have to worry about being citadel too often. If you do run into one of those guys at low tiers, then you're going to pay for it because this ship can be citadel pretty significantly. But I haven't had too much trouble with it. So I've been giving full broadsides, which takes advantage of 10 of these 305mm guns, which is pretty awesome. So on to the video. All right. So I'll be real honest with you guys. This ship is not bad. It's a little sluggish. Again, that's partly my fault for the perks that I choose, but I like my dispersion and precision. So partly on me, but I'm used to it. But at these low tiers, it's not really that big a deal to be slow because the only thing that you got to really worry about is other battleships, because even the destroyers in this... Now, don't get me wrong. You get caught out by a rogue destroyer, you're going to know it. So keep that in mind. But there is the issue that I've been running into with the fact that this thing... It just overpowers... I don't know. Part of it, I guess, is... I don't know how to really go... Part of it is probably just the fact that I know what I'm doing, and most of these other, commanders that I'm going up against just don't. They're low tiers. This is a tier 3. This is why I don't normally do these lower tier ships in these, just because it just doesn't feel like you're giving it a showcase of the ship, because I can make pretty much any of the battleships at low tiers just absolutely amazing. And it's not because I'm amazing. Let's just get that straight. I'm not. We all know this. We've seen the streams. I get some pretty good games occasionally, but for the most part, I'm at least slightly above average. But the problem is, with these low tiers, that you're going up against people that are new. And people that are new just don't know how to play. Now, we are going to get into a pretty easy battle right off the bat. Now, I ask for some help, and it's one of those times where people actually do. I can't really argue with it. The guys pretty much dominate the enemy team in this one. Now, the enemy team does pretty well for themselves, obviously, because, new players are on both sides of the match. But I don't know how much they're communicating, and we weren't really communicating. I communicate a little bit here and there. I try not to get salty more than anything, but you can see there's destroyers floating around. And watch this Omaha. You see how far away he saw these torpedoes, right? Like, he saw the destroyer and saw that torpedoes get fired, which means he's running his hydro, and he's just sailing in a straight line, waiting for them to catch him. Didn't even bother trying to avoid them. And it was about this point where I go, oh God, it's one of those teams. This is going to be carry central. So I go into my normal, okay, now I can't be aggressive. I have to start thinking about protecting myself and doing as much damage while protecting myself as I can. Now, low tier battleships have the same issue, which is their turrets are very slow. These aren't as slow as, say, the Orions. The Orion's turrets are god-awful as far as how long they take to turn. And the Iron Duke aren't much better. Now, these are pretty slow, so keep that in mind. These turrets do take a long time to turn all the way back around, but they do eventually get there. And so we have to plan for that pretty early. And this Britannia just sailed right into all kinds of torpedoes, and he's got one thing on his mind. I'm going to kill that destroyer. And the destroyer is caught in a pickle. He's like, oh my God, I didn't sink him. Now what? And he just freezes. That's not what you want to do. Now, he was sailing in reverse going for the smoke screen, but you're too close to the guy. give yourself a chance and go forward. You know, you just try to outmaneuver his guns. Now, there was a cruiser there, too, so it would have been very difficult. It was a French cruiser at that. It would have been very difficult to outmaneuver. If you get past the battleship, you're still going to get shot by the cruiser, most likely. But as you can see, I switched to high explosive here because I'm figuring I'll set a fire. He's already taken torpedoes. I'll burn him down, and I won't have to worry about him. He's in a tier 4. I'm in a tier 3. He's got the advantage, even though I have the health advantage. So I was thinking, HE, and he's dead. You know, pretty straightforward, easy. And then I saw the cruiser come out broadside, and I was like, ooh, I really want to fire that HE at him. But I decide that the battleship is the bigger threat to me, because he is. I'm broadside to a battleship. You don't want that. Anybody here seen the Jingles videos? And now, the Arkansas, I know, it's Arkansas, but the Arkansas takes down our other destroyer. So we've lost 2 destroyers, and the worst part is we've got another destroyer coming over to get him some. Like, just hold the horses, folks. Why are you in such a hurry to die? But, again, it's because they're young. I say young. They're new. They don't know what they're doing. It's fine. Now, I don't know any of these people in this match, except for one enemy, and I will show you that enemy as soon as the fight becomes available. Now, the game has become unnecessarily close. We have dominated the enemy up to this point. They've lost their only tier 4 battleship, and that leaves an Arkansas, a destroyer, and a cruiser. Now, the cruiser and the destroyer are stalking me. I tell my destroyer, I'm like, hey, the other 2 are stalking me off to my right. They're coming around. And good news is, he was kind of ready for them. Unfortunately for him, it's a Matsuki. Now, the Matsuki is not something you have to worry about a gunfight, because it only has 2 of them, and they rarely hit anything if you've got a torpedo build, which is what most people in Japanese destroyers have. So I figure, worst case scenario, I go for the cruiser, try to get the cruiser's attention, and keep it off of my destroyer. I'm not even worried about the Arkansas. The Arkansas doesn't concern me one bit. I am not scared of an Arkansas at all. It's just not scary. I don't have any problem fighting Arkansas ever. So I'm not, you know, he's my lowest priority. This cruiser killing my destroyer is a high priority. He's fast, he's nimble, he sets fires. I need him gone. And then I see these torpedoes, and I make a quick decision. This is going to run out. And then you can see very, very close to the end of them catching up to me, I kind of like, wait, am I sure they're going to run out? So I started to turn away a little bit more. But they did run out. I did make the right call initially, that they were no threat to me. But they were scary. It made me think about it, made me hesitate. And now we're going to turn our attention back to the cruiser. Now, the cruiser's on fire, and we are getting all of that damage for him being on fire. I don't know why he doesn't put it out, but I appreciate it, because we're about to shoot him again. Maybe he used it after I hit him the first time. I forget. Maybe I damaged something important to him, and he used his damage control, and then I set him on fire. So maybe I did a smart play without knowing it. But unfortunately, our destroyer has been in the crossfire of getting shot by their destroyer. Hey, look! We know this guy. It's Flashing Skies. How you doing? Your Matsuki is in trouble, brother. Good job. Right there. Just took everything he had left, leaving him with just enough for the other people to get the kill. Because that's how we do things. I don't care what ship I'm in. I will kill everything right up until the point that it could kill them. I will take everything from them and leave them with just enough to get away with it. Now, this Emil thinks he's being pretty smart. He's slowing down, he's changing his speed, but he's not changing course, which is the #1 thing you need to do against a battleship and a cruiser, because if you stay, you know, speed up, slow down, I can see that a lot easier than if, oh, I don't know, you start turning a little to the left, a little to the right, and changing your range from me, which affects the shots tremendously. But again, this is low tier, so you gotta, you know, assume that the guys don't know what they're doing, like this Arkansas who's broadside on in front of me. But lucky for him, we only hit him with like 2 rounds, and one overpins and the other one doesn't pin it, or one pins and one overpins, and just don't get a whole lot of damage from it. The cruiser, on the other hand, we have done significant damage to. Now, I hope you guys stay tuned after this battle's over, because after I'm done talking, I'm going to leave you guys with a couple little tidbits that I gathered in the ship tonight. Most notably against the Danae. I felt sorry for the guy. Honestly, I really do. He tried so hard, but ultimately failed. We have the Arkansas, and he has taken some torps from our little buddy. Remember, the guy that we saved? He's torping this guy. So he has no health left. And so I'm about to get the front 2 guns loaded. I've got 3 guns pointed at him. Again, not having to angle too much to get the extra gun involved on the side. We put a shot out, thinking he's dead. Really? Really? But luckily we get the other guns loaded and we get to steal the kill. So we end up having a decent game. Now, not a lot of damage, but a fun game. Good showcase of the ship being able to, you know, put rounds on target and take people down. Getting 3rd on the team with the Acasta coming in 2nd, and a Congo coming in just below us. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And like I said, I'm going to leave some extra goodies for you guys in the form of a couple clips after this. So keep an eye out. And as always, I will see you in the next video.
Taking the lead. All stations, concentrate fire on the target. Enemy battleship sunk. Civilian